Let me get a little bit of that rut tester. What up, my dudes? McNarls, holy shit. We got McNarls and Joey Kerr beside us, bro. Okay, I don't know who the hell these boys are, but get off my bike, bro. What are you doing? Oh my god. Okay, let's see if I can get out in front of these boys real quick, ski. Come on, Spencer boy. Come on there, buddy boy. Get out front, brother. Oh my god, what is this shit? Like, when you start getting close to somebody, your bike just gets locked into them, bro. Okay, I'm trying to get out front of these guys, but I can't fucking move. Alright. Yo, this sand feels completely different than any kind of sand I have felt in Legends thus far. I will tell you that for damn sure. Okay, my bad, boys. I was kind of trying to pull the whole shot there. So, we're doing a bit of a combo video today. This is had to do a rut tester style video since we got a good old Southwick. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to do something a little bit different. Okay, now we're out front here. You can get a look at the track before there's any deformation. This is my first time ever seeing this track right here, ever riding on it. So, yeah, this is a bit of a... let's check out the new Pro Motocross track, but let's also test out max deformation with maximum laps on it at the same time kind of video here, you know what I'm saying? So that's what we're going to try to do. Can I double something here? Oh, Switzy boy, pop off, coming up. Oh, there we go. Get up. Okay. Bro, I'm telling you what, this sand is deep, brothers. This is some super deep sand feel. Like, it feels like the physics of the bike are not even the same. That's how different the sand feels on this track compared to just like a normal dirt track. Like, it's like twice as... Oh my god, Spency boy, what are you doing? It's like twice as hard to steer in it, you know? I wouldn't say twice as hard, but you gotta steer twice as hard to get the bike to turn. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of the feeling of it. And if you know... MX vs ATV actually added that update. Okay, here we go, kind of on lap 1. We'll see what that deformation does. I would suspect it would do probably the most, it should do anyways, the most on Southwick than it does on any of the other tracks out there, okay? And like I said, we have maximum deformation turned on right now. So this will give us a good look, kind of like I was saying, at the updated sand feeling. That's something they added in updates to Legends just here like a couple updates ago. They made it to where the sand feels a lot different than like the different dirt compounds and sand compounds feel different, more different than they would have when Legends first came out. You see what I'm saying? They feel more different than like the other kind of tracks, the other kind of dirt compounds in the game. Okay, so we'll get a good look at that and kind of what the deformation does to it here. Well, let's see what we got here, boys. Come on, Spencer boy. Come on, buddy boy. Let's see what you got, bro. Alright, dogs. So far, this track is definitely getting rutted up. That's for sure. Interesting now that you can, you know, they added the update where you can select your deformation level, so you can go, I think there's like 3 or 4 different levels you can select from. So I'd be curious to see how different the deformation forms on like the lowest deformation setting, running a shitload of laps on it, versus like the maximum deformation setting, running a bunch of laps on it. I think less deformation and more laps always actually creates a better deformation. I know that's the way it is on MX Simulator. You know, that's just the way it is. But, like I say, we got it on maximum. We're kind of going all out in this video right here, you know what I'm saying? We're just trying to get a real good look at it, you know. We'll see what she does here, boys. But overall, visually, the track looks pretty sick. Oh my goodness. Bro, I am wide open on the throttle, by the way. Like, it looks like I'm sitting here letting off the gas and shit. Spency boy is not letting off the gas. We are wide ass open, boys. wide the fuck open, boys, okay? That just kind of lets you know how deep the sand really is here. I think they really tried to... This has to be the deepest sand-filling Southwick we've had in Legends, All Out, like any of the different years of all of the different Southwick versions, you know what I'm saying? This has to be the deepest one of all of them. I would certainly say that for sure. They kind of do have like these two inside... Well, I say inside, but they have like an inside pre-made berm and an outside pre-made berm, kind of big sand berms. So, whoa, Spency boy. Okay, obviously you want to be clutching it going into these corners. I think that's kind of a bit of a you know, tactic you can use to keep the momentum of the bike up a little bit more when you getting this deep sand. You know what I'm saying? Probably go outside here. Whoa. All right. But as you can see, Deformation muffed up, dog. She gnarly, dog, already. And you can feel it quite a bit. Like I'm saying, when you have the Deformation on maximum, that's certainly going to give it a bit of a vibe there. But it's always, anytime you talk about Deformation in these motocross games, it's always that combination of what's the Deformation doing compared to whatever kind of pre-made that you already had on the track, compared to whatever kind of dirt compound you have. You know, it's like those three things work in a trifecta together to give you that overall Deformation experience on whatever kind of track you're on. You know, this one doesn't really have a whole lot of like pre-made ruts on it. It's like MX vs ATV purposely went for more of a less pre-made, but they probably made it where the... Bro, you almost come to a complete stop right there. Like, what is that, dog? I should not be coming to a complete stop when I am wide open on a 450 MX vs ATV. That is not realistic. Okay, I get it. You're trying to make it feel like sand. I understand all that, but when I am wide the fuck open on a 450, supposedly a fully upgraded, fully factory 450, you know, it ain't like I'm out here on a stock 450, but if I am wide open, I should not be coming to a complete stop on any track when I am wide open. That just shouldn't be a thing. You got a little bit of a problem with the momentum system of your game if that's happening. Obviously, this should be a lot, you know, a lot more power robbing of a kind of track than like a, you know, like a Hangtown or something like that, or like a Redbud, or obviously Southwick is supposed to be, you know, sand, you know, deep sand, you know, power robbing. That's kind of the whole point of it, but there's a limit there, you know. You don't want it to be totally to the point where the bike will literally come to a complete stop when you are completely wide open. It shouldn't be doing that. It just shouldn't be doing that, period. So, but like, just me coming down some of these areas right here, it's like, the bike shouldn't be going that slow. It should only be robbing your power when you first get on the gas, like when you're accelerating out of the corner. If you have momentum built up, you should still be able to go just about as fast on Southwick as you would any other track if you have your momentum built up. But the problem with this track right here that I'm already noticing is it's like even when you have momentum built up, it's still robbing the shit out of your power. Like it's still trying to make it feel like you're just coming out of the corner even when you're not just coming out. Like, look at this. Bro, what is this MX vs ATV? Come on, dog. Come on, boys. Y'all should have done a little bit more testing on something like this. I hate to say it, but I have to say it. Like, that's the whole thing. You know, if you're going to make a sand Southwick track be more power robbing, you can only do it when the bike is just coming out of a corner or it's just starting to try to accelerate out of a corner. Yeah, you can make it rob your power then. But if I'm coming down a long straightaway or something like that and I'm carrying my speed around, it should not continue to rob my power at the level that it is here. That's all I'm trying to say with this video. It just shouldn't be robbing it when I already have my momentum picked up, right? It's almost like it in a way, it like doesn't even let you carry as much momentum as you should be able to carry at those higher speeds on a Southwick track. You can see the deformation. There are definitely ruts everywhere, and you can feel them. Okay, this is not like some milestone false, some bullshit visual ruts that you can't actually feel. You can feel these ruts, even on the sand track, These are definitely physical ruts. There ain't no doubt about that. And they are absolutely everywhere. But, like, that just shouldn't feel that slow. I mean, I'm wide open coming down that straightaway, and it feels like I'm in quicksand, even when I've already built up all of my momentum. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just shouldn't... There's a fine line there, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. When you're making a sand track and you're trying to make it, like, rob your momentum and shit, there is a fine line there, dogs. Very fine line there. It does have this little section right here. Kind of jumps into that. I do think the track is still a little bit on that narrowy side. I think they could have expanded the scaling just a little bit, and it would have helped even more with that. That sort of allowing you to carry a little bit more momentum kind of feel to the track. But you can only carry so much momentum when the track is so tight and the deformation is like this. You can just only carry so much momentum. The kind of track you would try to compare this to would be like, obviously like Sandwick on Reflex with max deformation. You know how much speed you can carry on Sandwick with max deformation? It's probably double. It is literally probably double the kind of average speed that you can carry on this Southwick 2023 on Legends. So that just goes to give you a bit of an idea there of the difference. I mean, yeah, if you get to go in here and you're popping that clutch left and right in all these corners, yeah, you can carry some speed, but it ain't like that speed that you're going to carry on Sandwick on Reflex with max deformation. That literally made the track go from flat to like monster-ass ruts in the corners. That's not really what the deformation is doing here. This is more like you just drug a JS7 hair comb through the track. It's not like it's really building some bigger rut that you're going to carry more speed through. It's just a totally different kind of deformation than, I mean, yeah, you can see it right there, kind of, it digs into the pre-made berms, but it's not like it takes a small pre-made berm and then makes it double or triple its normal size to then where you can carry some next level of speed through it. It's still not doing anything like that. And again, that goes back to the don't fix something that wasn't broken. Don't try to fix something that wasn't broken, aka Reflex on Sandwick with that kind of deformation. You know what I'm saying? That's just goated. It's just goated compared to this. Like, is this better than like a lot of their different sand tracks and deformation, like from last year and All Out and the milestone games? Yes, it is better than all that, which is certainly saying something, but this is still no Reflex on Sandwick at the exact same time. You see what I'm saying? For some of you real motocross gaming fans out there, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You'll realize exactly what this is when I say that right there. Yeah, I think if you're going to have the track be this power robbing, if you're going to have the track be this deep of a sand feeling, you need to expand the scaling more. That way it opens up the track a little bit more. That way you can get the bike up to a higher speed and actually carry that speed a little bit more. Because otherwise you'll just get this vibe where you just kind of feel like you are on quicksand. And the track's not really big enough to really open up the bike enough to where it ever feels like anything different than just quicksand. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting from it here. I mean, yeah, it's going to give you kind of that brutal feeling. The bike's, the controller's constantly vibrating. The bike's constantly, bouncing around a little bit. It's giving you a cool little feel when it comes to that, but I just still don't think it's giving you exactly what it could be or what it should be. You know what I mean? That's kind of where I'm getting at with it here. But you can see, I mean, deformation absolutely everywhere, dogs. Obviously. So is the goal here to just kind of let off of this? I guess that's the better way to hit that. I don't know exactly, but yeah, you can tell anytime you're hitting any kind of like raised terrain, like a bit of an uphill, that's where it's like the bike literally just about comes to a complete stop, even when you're wide ass open. I think that's a bit of a problem here with Legends that I've noticed, and this could be with some of the updates that I know they've done an absolute shitload of updates to Legends and the physics and everything else, but like if you look over here at the mile per hour that I'm going, right? Like if it says I'm going 50 miles an hour, the speed of the game feels like I'm going about 20 miles an hour when I'm technically going like 50 miles an hour. And if it says that I'm going like 30 miles an hour, well, the speed of the game feels like I'm going about 10 miles an hour. But you see what I'm saying? It's like their entire speed of the game is a little bit off for what it actually says you're going mile per hour wise, right? Like, yeah, if you look over there at the mile per hour, yeah, that probably makes sense. They're probably going about 30, 40 miles per hour in most of these corners on Southwick, and then when you get to some of the more wide open spots, it'll pick up to like 50, 60 miles an hour. Yeah, that's accurate, but it's not accurate in the sense of how fast it actually feels like you're going. Do you see what I'm saying? That's where it's not as accurate to me. That's why I compared it to like Reflex, when I'm saying Reflex literally feels like you're probably going about twice as fast as this. That feels more like the proper kind of arcade speed feeling to a game than this does right here. This gets a little more boring to me. This gets a little more like it feels like I'm barely moving, right? It just shouldn't feel like that when you're wide open. I couldn't imagine if you're more of a beginner player on Legends and you're not wide open, you're like half throttle, it's going to feel like the screen is barely moving. It's going to feel like you are literally barely moving, dogs. Let's take a lap here in first person. I mean, like this right here, anytime I get into an arcade dirt bike game where I'm wide open and it feels like I'm barely moving, I just can't stand that feeling. I don't know. Me personally, I've always hated that feeling. And you can get out of hand with it. Don't get me wrong. We're on lap 9 out of 30 right here, okay? I probably won't run the full amount of laps, just give you guys a bit of a look at it here. But yeah, it's a lot more of a, like I'm saying, more of a hair comb style, like a bunch of smaller ruts that you can feel them, but they're not like super grab you. So that's where it's a lot different than like a Reflex deformation on Sandwick or whatever. It's kind of the opposite of that. Instead of like making one or two bigger deformed ruts in the corners that really grabs you, this is more like, let's make 7 or 8 smaller ruts that don't fully grab you, but you can feel them, and it'll dig down the berms just a little bit, but not like it would have on Reflex. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, bit of a different style of deformation here, but yeah, got some chop right there in that little spot. But yeah, like this whole area right here, this corner should have been sweeped out more where you could have really held the gas down. I just don't think they're getting the full effect of what these tracks could feel like. MX vs. ATV, you're going to have to put me on the test team, dog. You're going to have to... I know it's not that easy to change these tracks, once you kind of already get them built. But you need to be sending these tracks over to me like... when you're in early development stage of them. And I can tell you whether or not that scaling is a little bit too small for its own good or not. That's what this track is right here. Unfortunately, it would be twice as fun if you made the entire scaling of this track 25% bigger, and you made the traction, like the feeling of the sand, if you made it about 25% less frictiony when you already have your speed, you know, when you already have your momentum. It feels pretty good when you're like going from damn near like a complete stop, or you're in a really tight corner. It feels good on that shit, but it doesn't feel as good when you already have your momentum built up and it's still super power robbing you, right? It's like it's robbing your high speed momentum too much to where it don't even feel like you can really get that much momentum, regardless of what you do, you know, clutch boosting in the corner or holding your speed, carrying your speed. And I'm on a 450, by the way. I couldn't imagine if you were on this track on a 250 or a 125 banger, you know. It would be even worse of that kind of feeling that I'm talking about right now. You know what I'm saying? It would be even worse, big dogs. But either way, I mean, yeah, it's a cool little experience here. If you've not, you know, I think this is worth experiencing. This track is worth getting if you're wanting to kind of experience a bit of a next level of deformation in Legends. But I'm just here to tell you, it still ain't no Reflex. It's still a bit too small scaling for its own good. It's a bit too power robbing for its own good at the higher, at the more wide open spots of the track, the higher speed portions of the track. So just keep all that in mind, you know.